So he was streaming it so I could watch him pwn on a bunch of noobs for me.
Yeah, pwn those noobs for you. Play that game for you.
It's just the PvP stuff. The rest of stuff I can do by myself. Mostly. Well, kinda. Sorta.
You do all the fun stuff. The stuff you consider fun.
Yeah. Stuff doesn't make me want to punch a hole through every wall that I have in my house.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it. Poor walls. No, I don't want to move it to the iPad. Jesus. I don't know how to work computers, Joe.
Good thing you don't work with them, I guess.
Yeah. Good thing my livelihood doesn't depend on that.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Yep.
What the hell is that? Oh, there it goes. The news app wasn't pulling up. I was like, please work. I was just using you.
It took a second for mine to pull up too.
I wonder if their servers are affected by all the other shit going on.
There's stuff going on?
Yeah, dude, like a bunch of different internet stuff was all whacked out yesterday and the day before.
Mm-hmm. I don't keep up on the internet whacking.
Okay, don't say it like that. That sounds real creepy. The internet whacking.
The internet whacking.
But yet again, all my save stuff hasn't shown up yet from my phone. Why?
Your shit's whack, yo.
Why you do this to me?
All my stuff shows up.
I can go back to my phone and it's there, but for some reason it doesn't want to show up on my computer.
That seems stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Time out and time in.
Wish it was that easy on a Mac.
Mac or iPhone?
With iPhone stuff, I can see it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't think I actually had anything saved that was any good anyways.
Really?
Boom. Shakalaka.
Boom.
Anyhow. Comes naturally, we are.
Joe?
I'm Cody. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode where we are going to talk about random shit. Because nothing is going on in the world right now.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. Nothing that we really want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't really care about that stuff.
One thing I do want to talk about, though.
Yeah?
Did you see that they're trying to make an Alien TV series on FX?
I did see that. And I saw the article a second ago that I don't know where it's at.
There's a whole Vanity Fair article where they interview the showrunner of Fargo, Noah Hawley, who is actually the person that's right now writing the series, or at least he's got the first couple of scripts written. This dude is prolific, to say the least.
Bro.
He is a writer, director, producer, best-selling author, screenwriter. Like, goddamn, dude. Do you take a day off?
No, dude. He's
done a lot of stuff for FX, Fargo, Legion. There's some other stuff on there. None of the stuff that I really recognized or watched, because I don't really ever watch FX, but at least knew Fargo. He's got a book coming out called Anthem, or The Anthem, or something like that. But anyway, so I would say go and read the whole Vanity Fair article, but it basically boils down to his idea is that we've seen the aliens attack, blue collar people, a la Ripley and the crew of the Nostromo. We've seen them attack the Marines in 2. Now we're going to see, hopefully, because they've really just got a couple of scripts written at this point. We'll see them on Earth going after like the CEOs of large corporations is basically what he said. So I'm assuming the Weyland-Yutani Corporation.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I hope it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to have anything to do with Sigourney Weaver, which is actually kind of good. I'm kind of like, as much as I love that character, obviously the last couple of films have really just shoehorned her in there, and it doesn't really make sense anymore. So I'll be interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to be, mentioned at one point in it or whatever, or referenced because, the past and all.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to have a Ripley character in it.
Not really.
Not
at all.
He had something
in fact, I'd
else
like to see somebody do Amanda Ripley, her daughter. Like, obviously we got that as the video game. I wish we would get a sequel to Alien Isolation, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think other stuff within that universe. I love that universe. I just wanted to see them make good alien horror movie stuff again. And doing a long form factor stuff on TV, hopefully, will be pretty good. I say hopefully because I don't know how much budget they're throwing towards this thing. I can definitely see them not throwing a whole lot of stuff at a sci-fi series, especially on FX, and it not doing too well because of it. But we'll see. There's no release date. There's no speculative release date. It's just he's got these scripts. They're going to try and get them made type thing.
Oh, there it was. I knew there was something else. So in 2017, it was announced that he was doing a Doctor Doom movie as part of the expanded Fantastic Four stuff. And then obviously with the critical failure of Fantastic Four and the being bought up by Disney, they shelved that shit. They're like, nah, dog. And then
put that stuff away and we'll do it again later.
He was also at one point announced. Oh, here it is too. I knew there was another thing on there. He was announced to basically be directing the 4th installment of the reboot Star Trek series. And then that shit went down too. They're like, nah, bro.
So he's had some chances to take over some really big properties.
Yeah.
And just fell through for one reason or another. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. Like I said, I really want to see another Alien chapter in the franchise.
Hey, Joe, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup.
Yay.
Yay. In a rousing 0-1 win.
It must have been really exciting.
I was like, okay. That just popped on my phone while I was looking at it. What else we got here, Joe? What else we got here?
The next thing that I have here is that we've been waiting since 2020. That was the last episode of season 2 of The Boys. They have filmed. I think they're done filming season 3. It's in at least post-production right now. They don't have any. At least I haven't been able to find anything about when season 3 debuts. Although I did just pull up a tweet from the Boys official channel, and it says every time you ask when season 3 is coming out, the release date moves back one day. See you in 2033.
That sounds about an Eric Kripke comment.
That was posted June 18th of this year. That's pretty funny. But no, so this showed up on Cinema Blend but looks like it's something that you can watch on YouTube. It's going to be I don't think they mentioned how frequent it's going to be posted on YouTube, but it's like a VOT news network thing. So it's going to be like, it's presented as like a news network telling you about the things that are happening in between season 2 and season 3 of The Boys. They've got at least the first episode out. I suppose I could go to their YouTube channel and see what else they have right now. It is presented as a very, very Fox Newsy type of thing, nice. which is really pretty funny to me. They even have a commercial at one point that is the My Sheets guy.
Oh Jesus!
Instead of My Pillow. Yeah,
doing the commercials.
They kind of dress him like that. It's actually pretty goddamn funny. Let's see, where is it? Twitter, Instagram. There it is. So they have... Nope, that is not where I wanted to go. Where the fuck did you take me?
You know.
So it looks like they have two up right now on there. It's a VOT International on YouTube. The first actual episode, and then a music video from Starlight.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes.
Oh, I saw some about that. Oh, that's hilarious. They showed a little teaser of her, and I was like, I don't know what that is. That's pretty rad.
It looks like the music video was posted a month ago on this channel, but the news broadcast was posted 10 hours ago. It talks about her in the limelight, singing and whatnot. Where'd my news app go? There it is. So I'd say definitely watch it. It's fucking hilarious, and they're supposed to be releasing more of them up to the release of The Boys, whenever that might be later this year.
That's so funny. That's the Amazon one. I'll find it later. I was gonna pull it up now, but yeah. Interesting. Okay.
The only other thing I would talk about right now is that obviously they announced the Switch OLED edition, OLED model.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a Switch Pro that everybody was hoping it would be. Nope. I know we were definitely hoping it would be a Pro model, which would include better screen, more storage, and of course a better processor that could possibly output 4K, not on the device itself necessarily, but at least through the dock. Instead, what we got is an OLED screen. It's slightly a bit larger. I don't remember the size on it right now.
7 inches.
And what?
7 inches.
7 inches versus what, though?
6 points. Hold on. Go ahead and keep going.
But anyway, yeah, so it's not going to be a physically bigger device. It's literally just going to be a smaller bezel. So 7 inches versus 6 point something
6.2
inches on the old, so 6.2 inches on the old model. They're going to reduce the size of the bezel, make it 7 inches OLED screen. You're going to have a new kickstand, which is supposed to be, I would akin it more to a Surface Pro kickstand.
It's the width of the actual device.
Bends and you know, all the way down, so presumably you could actually, you know, plug it in if you want to, which seems like a very novel idea.
Yeah.
64 gigabytes of storage. There was something else. What was it?
Dock has Ethernet.
Oh, Ethernet. Yeah, dock has Ethernet, which I could take or leave. I don't foresee myself. I'm probably going to get this. It's $349, $350. It comes out on October 10th, I believe it was. 8th. October 8th, the same day as Metroid Dread, yep. Which once they announced that, I was pretty much sold. I don't have a Switch, so that's probably the one that I'm going to attempt to buy. Who knows if, you know, day one you're actually going to be able to get a hold of it, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely try, at least.
That means we can get Mario, Mario Golf Rush. No, what's it called?
Yeah, Rush.
Rush. Yeah. That looks real fun.
So I've heard, I've heard things that for a golf game, Mario Golf game, it's actually really fun. I also dig the colors on it because it's got that like sort of grayish white and black to it, which is very like NASA inspired-y to me. Yeah. So I dig that color scheme a lot. But yeah, it's not everything that everybody was hoping for it to be, but I think it's a decent enough upgrade. My only concern is that they're going to upgrade it here, and then 1 year from then is when they're going to announce the a major upgrade or even a new system, because this thing's been out for going on 5 years now,
something like that. Yeah, because I know they. When did the Nintendo Switch come out? Good question, Joe.
It is a good question. But they're due then, I would say, for a system update. I would wonder if it's just the whole chip shortage thing kind of tied them back. Maybe they did want to actually make this a pro model, realizing that the chip shortage made it so they can't really do it, but they have pretty much everything else ready to go. So
4 years.
So it's 4 years?
Yeah.
So by the time that this releases, it'll be pushing 5 years.
Yep, because it was March 3rd, 2017.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, so I don't know, obviously accurate this is, they've sold 84.5 million units as of March 31st, 2021. Holy
I wonder,
shit.
that's just an aggregate of all things named Switch, because you have...
Yeah, this is a Switch console, I think, because in here they talk about both all three, the Switch, the Switch Lite, and the OLED version. Obviously, the OLED version isn't tied into that because it's not out yet, but as of March 31st of this year, over 84.5 million units were sold to the Switch, which is... That seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. Which makes me wonder if they do, when they upgrade the system or develop a new system, is it going to be a Switch-like device? Are they going to continue down this road, or are they going to do another regular console type thing?
Oh, I take that back. That 84.59 million does not include the Lite.
Okay, that's even more impressive because they probably sold a good amount of the Lights as well.
15.72 million, and that only came out in 2019.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a big damn. Yeah, I don't know, the I like the name the Switch Pro, but I would, and if they do that, it would be akin to what they did with the Wii. Like where they went Wii U, when it was like, it was essentially the same console, just with rounded edges and a screen that a controller had a screen on it, which was cool. Which obviously led to the existence of the Switch, because if you look at it, it's a same fucking device, just much smaller and way better battery life than that fucking controller had. Screen's better too. So I mean, obviously that led to it, but I don't think they're going to call it the Switch U, but if they did do a newer version of it, and call it, the Switch Pro or whatever, that'd be pretty dope. I don't think they're going to go full new console. Nintendo is very wait and let us do something amazing type company, unlike the life cycle of some other consoles in the world, Xboxes and PlayStations, where it took them how many years to essentially change the ecosystem enough to make it different. Even with the Series X and S, it's still running a lot of the same things. Obviously, it's still running the same games, just has ability to be better, and better games can be loaded on it and things like that. PlayStation 5 obviously is just a slight better than a PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 4 even had a Pro version that came out, PlayStation 4 Pro, which was the only difference in it is it had the ability to do 4K. But then again, none of your games were really 4K, so it didn't really matter, but it had, better performance, and PlayStation 5 came out in two variations, which were a better two variations of what Xbox did, because Xbox essentially made a handy, like I don't want to say handicapped version of it, but like a lower tier version of it, because it doesn't do the full 4K. It doesn't have the bigger drive in it, and it doesn't have an optical drive in the Series S versus the Series X. Well, PlayStation made the exact same console, just one didn't have an optical drive in it, which is, to me, is a better choice. I mean, I get it. They want Xbox wanted that a cheaper variant to have people as like more of an entry one, because if you didn't, their thought process, and I think this is how it worked, because I can't speak directly for them, but they essentially wanted to have their flagship console, the Series X, in an entry level one, so people who were upgrading from an Xbox One were probably going to go to the X if they could get a hold of it. People either entering the Xbox ecosystem or jumping from, God forbid, the 360 still, you'd have a much easier time price-wise getting into the Series S than you would the Series X, because it was obviously more expensive, and it's intended for the people who want the best of the best, where people who are still running the 360 just want a console that's going to work, because their 360s are probably like super dead and you can't really get games for them anymore. So, they can get entry level, and the only bad thing is, and I think what's actually hurt it, is the fact that it's digital only, and the people who were in that entry level still want discs, where the Series X, I think, should have been fully digital, but I understand why, because it's also being just like Xbox. So Xbox has in the last ones, is it's a media player as well. It is a Blu-ray player, so it has that home theater entertainment capability in it, which I understand why. So I can't really say, I'd rather have a digital version. I would, but also I still need a Blu-ray player for the random times I have a Blu-ray that I want to watch. But it just gives me a chance to buy a digital PS5 and be happy. So that's it, because I just want a PlayStation 5 that's digital, so I can play Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ratchet and Clank. So far, those are the only ones I want to play. So, boom.
And then let the system just gather dust for the rest of the year.
Yeah, until another game.
That actually brings up an interesting thing that I was thinking about earlier when I was watching, when I got home today after going to get my haircut. I ran across a YouTube video talking about all of a bunch of user-created content for Unreal Engine 5, I think it's called. Basically, this engine is so goddamn advanced that it's able to make very photorealistic looking environments, and do it at a very low cost to the computer that's running it. So as they were showing, like, you could render, I think it was like 1 million hamburger buns or 1 million donuts is what somebody rendered on just like a simple computer, not like a high-end 3090 this or that, but just a simple computer, and it ran without lag. So the interesting thing that I was thinking about is, at what point in time do graphics no longer matter? Are we fastly approaching that time? Because one of the reasons why I haven't upgraded to a Series X is because my One X still plays all the games that I want to play, and they look really good on that system. I can't imagine getting a Series X and playing the same games, even with the upgraded patches and stuff, and really noticing such a huge difference. Like, there is a big difference going from 2D to 3D games, 16-bit to 32-bit, 64-bit games. There's a huge difference between going from a regular Xbox to a 360, from a 360 to a One. Not much of a difference going from a One to a One X.
No.
And honestly, there really isn't much of a difference to me yet from going from a One X to a Series X. So is there a point in time where it's really just, and are we fastly approaching it, because this Unreal Engine thing, like I said, pretty much can run on a fucking piece of paper, that we're going to just not care that anything's going to just be able to run on anything, that graphics are going to no longer be necessary, or going to be the driving force of things. And Nintendo has never said we're in it for the graphics, to push the graphics. We're in it for the user experience and the games that it can play. So are they going to continue to make because you said, like you said, they're really not going to move on to another console unless they come out with something, more revolutionary. And that's going to be something that's very physical to the player, rather than just, hey, we pushed more pixels into this thing.
Yeah, Nintendo. So the biggest difference between Nintendo and pretty much everybody else is, to your point, is they are always trying to push the user experience of playing the game, not what the game looks like when you're playing it. Because the problem with the fact that Unreal Engine 5, it looks amazing, there's limitations right now with, if you make a game, for example, we'll use God of War, the newest one that came out on PlayStation 4 in the Pro. That game looked amazing, but it's a single-player game, so you're not worried about an internet connection issue from another player you're interacting with, and it's still a very linear gameplay. Like you don't get to explore an open world where it's always drastically changing and elements are moving around. It's basically just you're playing a story. You're going from point A to point B. Yes, there's a point A1 or A2 you can go over this mountain or around this tree, whatever, but it's all set right there. With Unreal Engine 5, you can do those type of games, and they're gonna look photorealistic. Would it benefit a Switch Pro? Yes, because then you can make games look better. But to your point earlier about the Switch, even if they did release a Switch Pro with an OLED screen, it could output 4K. The screen itself, which is apparently what a lot of people play on still, and that's why the Lite's so popular, not just because it was available, but that's what you play on. You won't be able to tell the difference. Even if you do have an OLED screen that's going to be brighter, technically could have more pixels, but the unit's too small to increase your pixel rate or pixel amount too much. It was like a bunch of years ago, and you'll understand this analogy. A bunch of years ago, we were limited on how many pixels we could cram into a set, not because we didn't have the content to support a higher resolution than 1080p. It's the TV sets, just the technology couldn't do it until LEDs came out, and they could make the pixels more accurate and fire off, so they can make them smaller and they can make them do more things. OLED comes out, obviously the pixels get even smaller, so you can cram even more in. So now you have 8K fucking TVs and shit, which is just mind blowing. Like one we saw. Remember we saw it at San Diego a couple years ago at the Best Buy in Mission Valley. That 8K display. We're like, this is a window. We're looking at a window to the Grand Canyon somehow. That is great on a bigger screen, but that's why they don't make 4K TVs that are like smaller than 40,
like 50 inches.
Yeah, 46, 45 inches. Yeah. Because when you get smaller, it doesn't matter how good your image is. Your TV, it's just too small to see that great detail. When it comes to games, like computer games, obviously nobody's really playing computer PC games on a 65, 77-inch TV or monitor, right? Because the refresh rate's not as high as they want it to be. They want that, they want 120 hertz. They want 60 frames per second. They whatever they want, all these different things. So you need the smaller screen, and it can cram that on there. But again, for example, Destiny on an Xbox Series X can play natively in 60 frames per second, but you can't play 120 hertz unless you're playing Crucible. And the reason why is because you're in a locked-in environment in the game, and there's not a bunch of other things happening over here and people coming in. It's a set group of people playing 4 or 5. I can't remember how many Crucible there are. I think it's 4. Because, why not have fire teams of 4? Or 6 or whatever it is. So you can lock that frame rate and have it capable because you're not having so-and-so drop in whenever they want in and out of the environment. You know what I mean? When it comes to Unreal Engine 5, going back to your points as my rambling goes on, the benefit of it being able to run on such low systems, like someone ran some simulation that was 8K resolution density, blah blah blah, and they could run it on a phone or an 8K TV, and it can size itself down depending on when the hardware goes on. It could even change the frame rate without having to change the content. It just changes how it manipulates the image on the device it's on. Cool, awesome. So you could do that on a Switch Pro. So if you did dock your Switch Pro onto your 4K dock onto your TV, it could potentially make the game look better on there. But then when you're holding it on your screen, on your handheld, the game still has to look and play well on just that. It should play the same because it's the same console on both, or same thing, docked or not. Because you're not getting extra power from the dock, you're just getting outputs on a dock. It's a hub. That's why it's that. It's not like a booster performance where slap a new graphics card on there and all of a sudden it makes better images. But it's exciting to think about what they could do with Unreal Engine 5. And to your point about if you have a Xbox One X, is there a reason to go to a Series X? No. Why I did it is I'm a lunatic. Did I get benefit out of it right away? Not a chance, because the hardware I was running outside of the Xbox, my receiver, for example, did not do that version of 4K. So I couldn't get the fancy 4K at 60 frames because my older receiver, which has just pass-through, but it's only pass-through of 4K, not 60 hertz and none of that stuff, I couldn't even utilize for the first year or so that console was out. You know what I mean? Or for the Series, or for the Xbox One X. Yeah. Then when I went to the Series X, I was still playing with the same TV and same receiver, so it didn't make a difference. Obviously, when I got my new setup, the graphics were way better. I could play at 60 hertz, and it looks gorgeous. It moves amazingly. But was there a reason for me to go up? No, I'm just one of those dudes where I want the best of it. And until a few months ago, I didn't even have equipment to experience the best part of it because I was still running my older TV and my older receiver. And when I upgraded it, yes, it did look better. Did it mean I finally made use of it? Yes, but did it justify me buying a Series X when I had a perfectly good Xbox One X? Not a chance. Not at all. It did not. It did not. It did not be I finally got to where I wanted. No, I added stuff to finally utilize it more. And yes, the games run faster because it has a faster processor and a faster hard drive. But also it comes down to your internet connection. If you have a shit internet connection, you can have the best graphics possible, but if you load in slow as balls, you're still going to have a shitty gameplay because you're always online. A single-player game doesn't make any difference because you're not online, but if you're playing online games of any sort, it's going to have an issue if you have shitty internet. That's just how it works.
Fair enough. But I suppose my question was also, and it's just a rhetorical question, like I'm saying, the differences between consoles graphically seems to be, at least to me, being it seems to be lessening with every iteration.
Yes.
So is there going to be a point in time, and are we fastly approaching that, where you're not even going to just necessarily need to upgrade your console at all?
Yeah, eventually.
That's the interesting question that I have, just because there's, like I said, the difference between, sure, I think the Series X can do like ray tracing and stuff and something like that, where the One X can't do stuff like that. But I mean, where do you go from there, especially when you have Unreal Engine right now coming out that can do amazing photorealistic graphics on nothing systems that you could just implement in games at this point? What happens, because what's this life cycle of the Xbox? It was probably right around 5 years as well.
About 5 years.
Same thing with Sony. Same thing with the PlayStation. Arguably, you could make an argument that the PlayStation did actually have better graphics than the Xbox. The PlayStation 4 had better graphics than the One X, or the Pro versus the One X. But like the next iteration down the line, our change is going to be so small that they're insignificant to really do, especially with engines getting better.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll get to a point.
Focus on the user experience.
Yeah,
like Nintendo seems to be doing.
Yeah, because like with the Nintendo and their whole, I mean, obviously, if you look at their, I think it really started. Well, the 64 was the first multiplayer on console, more than 2 players. You had the ability to do 4 players on the 64. So that was a cool experience, obviously, right? Even with the Super Nintendo, they had things like the Super Scope and other gimmicky attachments. And then when they went to the GameCube, you had obviously 4 players again. You actually had the ability to add a modem for online capability. Not that games were very good online, but that was the infancy of internet. So for gaming on the internet, at least. And then when they went to for example, in their handheld department, you went from the Game Boy Color. It was just a better one. But then you went to the DS, for example, and it had the stylus capability, and you could fucking ruin your screen by pressing too hard. Wario World. And then they went to the different versions of the 3DS, which was a gimmick by best standards. It just hurt your eyes too much to play it. And the Wii obviously was a very revolutionary thing, and even made PlayStation and Xbox scramble to do their own thing with the cameras and the motion controls or just motion in general. The Wii U obviously had we mentioned earlier, the screen on it with motion controls, and then the Switch that there's always a jump in technology. I would almost expect eventually we'll have, I don't think we'll ever really have home consoles that be interchangeable parts, really, like a PC would be, just because there would be too many variations, and you can't keep a system running well, because then you'd have people trying to make third-party parts that pop in, and all of a sudden games don't play right, blah, blah, blah. But I would almost imagine a world where we have vaporware, where you're buying...
So basically...
You're buying just a box that has everything you need to play a game via the internet on it, right? And even eventually it would be a thing where you could download it on your television, and it would be another channel.
So you're thinking where cloud gaming.
Cloud gaming would be. Yep, it's definitely going to be. And
Microsoft just released.
Go ahead.
The what is it called?
xCloud.
xCloud, yeah. It's out of beta now, as far as I'm aware. Pretty much anybody who has a
Game Pass
subscription
Ultimate.
to Game Pass Ultimate. That's what I still want to call it by the old games, Xbox Gold.
Yeah.
Game Pass Ultimate Edition can actually just sit there and play games on your mobile device, which includes iOS now. It used to be just Android for the longest time. It's definitely an interesting experience. It doesn't work very well. on any of the Wi-Fi's that I've been on.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it being the future, and the system that you're kind of talking about, I guess, would be like a NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah.
They did something similar where it was just basically you had the basic NVIDIA console. It had a Tegra, I believe, processor inside of it, and then you were basically streaming games to it. Obviously, you can't talk about game streaming without talking about Google Stadia. Stadia. Yeah, Stadia. To me, honestly, though, that I think that service is struggling, and probably within a couple of years, Google's just going to axe it because that's what Google does.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely one way that consoles, quote unquote, can go. Because I know Xbox was saying that Microsoft was saying, I read an article somewhere saying that they wanted it to be put on TVs.
Yeah.
Where it's just another app on your TV that you can just click over to, hop on there, turn your controller on, link up to the TV, and just play.
Yep.
It's just not there yet. The United States internet system is just
trash.
Not there yet. And as much as I would like to say, oh, just give it 5 years, just give it where it's just going to get better, it probably won't unless you're willing to pay for gigabit internet. And even then, I don't know if it's still going to be a flawless, seamless experience.
Yeah.
At that point. You have Gigablast, don't you?
Yeah, I have Gigablast.
How well does it run on your systems that you've tried?
It runs well as long as it's not an online game. Like I jumped on.
It's not an online game.
Yeah, like I jumped on and I jumped on Destiny because me, I have a problem with Destiny. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. And it was awesome. I had it on my iPad, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I like hooked up my Bluetooth controller. I was like, this is awesome. Got in the game, menu was running well. Launched into the tower, just the tower. Ran like shit. Once I was interacting with anything that has to do with other people's internet, like mine and theirs talking through a server, that's how it works. Shit. Just complete utter. It was stuttering. I was jumping around. I was like, yeah, I'm never going to get into anything, especially if I'm like I'm just going to be like bah, 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 everywhere, I fired up Gears of War, or Gears 5 as they call it now. Played amazing. It played really well. It loaded poorly at first, like the loading screens were like, let's go. And once I was in the game, it seemed to play fine because I was playing online, but I wasn't playing with other people, so there wasn't another internet connection. It was just my internet connection, so it could lower down whatever it needed to do in the magic cloud up there, raining bits or whatever down on it, however that works. I don't know the science behind it because it just boggles my mind to think we can play a game, like stream a game. You know what I mean? I have the ability to stream games that are on my console to my iPad, and they play great because it's running as a wireless screen. There's a delay I noticed from when I launch it to when it kind of runs, but it's running, it runs great. And I played obviously Destiny that way. And it works. You have no issues. It's just literally like a slight delay on my half. Like not like I hit a button and all of a sudden like 30 seconds later it does something. I just noticed there's a little bit of delay between when I press the button and it does something. And it was like
it's like milliseconds, but in a video game you can feel the milliseconds.
Yeah. I hit the button, I hold down my trigger to shoot, and it's like shooting. You know what I mean? Like press the button, shooting, and and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
That same performance via xCloud, or same game via xCloud, terrible gameplay, and it's I have pretty fast Wi-Fi. Could be faster if I got off my ass and actually set up my other router. But who's throwing stones? Glass house. But it's definitely we're seeing the future. We're just not in the future. And if anybody out there listening has played Stadia, which I have, trash service. It's just it has the same problems. You are still dependent on other people's internet, your own internet, and them talking to each other in a way. Because like Destiny, I didn't play Destiny on Stadia. I played it was a Hot Pursuit, some racing game. I can't remember what it was, and it played great until I accidentally said, "Oh, online race," and I was like, "This is taking forever." And I'm almost positive half the racers didn't show up until we were already going. Like, they were on the screen, but I didn't see cars. Gotcha. And all of a sudden, like, I'm driving and there's a car next to me. I'm like, yeah, ghost car, punch it.
They're in the race, but they're not in your game.
Yeah.
The reverse of EA.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say another reason why I would say that Stadia is actually going to be closed down is because Google actually shuttered their own, because they had a Stadia-driven game development studio, and they shuttered that a year or so ago. That's why another reason why I say that I don't think that service has long to live. There was something else I was going to say. I do think that as far as we're getting with like VR systems as well, I do thoroughly like that Sony is still supporting that. In fact, it sounds like they're going to be making new hardware for the PlayStation 5 VR experience. I'm curious still as to why Xbox hasn't jumped down that hole, because I do think that is another different step in the gaming experience. And I definitely see Nintendo doing something there. It's just that they're not there yet. They're not there with the user experience. I think they're still pretty burned with the Virtual Boy stuff. And even Apple were to be getting into it next year with something.
My only problem with VR games, right, is the games that are made for, like, VR games that are made, they're very, where the hardware is so infantile right now, like the games just aren't that developed. There are some that are amazing. Robo Recall, for anybody who has the ability to play that game, highly recommend getting it. It's a phenomenal 3D game. It's a phenomenal game in general. I kind of wish it was a game you could play on a console, because I have a problem with, I call it weak neck syndrome, where I can't wear a VR headset for very long without sweating a gallon of sweat through the area that's inside the goggles, which is insane to think about, that somehow it's so hot because I'm such a fat piece of garbage that sweat just goes, hey, you know what we should do? Only go out around his eyes. Cool. Awesome. I'm a garbage human. I understand that. But after a while of wearing a VR headset, even some of the new ones that are lighter weight, like the Quest Go and things like that, or the Quest and the Go, not Quest Go. There's two different things. The Oculus Quest and the Oculus Go is what I'm talking about. They're much lighter weight than like the Rift is from HTC and Steam, right? Yeah, Steam. That headset, the original headset, was fucking terrible. The Pro one was a little better, but you had to buy the better head strap for it. But it's still just too heavy on the front of your head, because they were too worried about making a helmet that they just wanted goggles, and it was just a pain in the asshole. And I have, like I said, weak neck syndrome, and just couldn't keep my fucking head up. I was like, can I get a stand to hold my head up on my shoulders so I can just turn? Like a Halo, you know what I mean?
You get one of those braces, yeah.
Yeah. So the games, they're cool. They're cool experiences, which is really cool. There's even some cool, when I say experiences, like cool 3D movies you can watch in it. There's I don't even know if it's available outside of what I demoed at Comic-Con a bunch of years ago. There's an actual like Pacific Rim one where you don't play, you just experience it. Like you're in it, and it's like you're in the Jaeger's head, like the pilot would be. Well, actually chest in most Jaegers, or like chestal area. But like you're in it, so you can look around and you can see all the mechanics inside a Jaeger, and you're looking out the screen. It was pretty cool. There was a Jurassic Park one or Jurassic World one where you're in a Jeep. It's like a 4K thing or a 4D thing where you're in a seat that moves you around, but you can look around and see all around you. Like, it's fucking dinosaurs everywhere. Cool things like that. Game-wise, the two games that I think were the coolest experience was Resident Evil. I think at that point was that 7?
That was 7 that did the VR, at least in PlayStation.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not bad. And then I think a more modern one. I think the other one was Robo Recall was one of them. Obviously, is Arizona Sunshine was pretty cool. It was like a zombie game, or Arizona Sunrise, Arizona Sunrise. I think I can't remember what it's called. And Super Hot obviously was one of my favorite games to play. I don't know if you've ever seen that game. It's not graphically intense at all. There's no realism to it. It's basically these like what looks to be polygon mannequins just attacking. You get to shoot them and throw stuff at them and catch bullets out of the air and throw the bullets back at them and just dismember the shit out of them. It's pretty fun. You can slow down time and speed up shit or whatever. It's pretty cool. And those ones are those experience ones, but they're not long games. There's not a lot to them. And it runs, I think because of the infancy of the hardware is just not there yet. With the PlayStation, a lot of theirs that I've seen were on rails. So you're not moving your character. You're just on a path and you have to do things, interact with stuff. There's a lot of those. I know they said like there's what is it? Like a esport kind of game they had for PlayStation, which I can't think of the name of it right now, but that was kind of cool looking. But yeah, I mean, it's VR is definitely a thing it's not gone by any means, but it's definitely not like a mainstay. Everyone's gonna have one soon.
Much in the infancy of it right now. They're still trying to figure out. Obviously, how not to make people sick while playing it. That's the teleportation is one of the ways that they solved that. Half-Life Alyx is something I still want to play so badly.
Yeah,
because I'm such a huge fan of the Half-Life series, and I don't have a PC that can actually play the game and a VR headset for it. But there are games where they have, I have seen that they have experimented with allowing people to just walk around freely, and not everybody gets that, especially with better VR headsets. Not everybody gets the motion sickness from playing games. But anyway, I would say, unless you have anything else, that's it.
Nope, I got nothing else. We've been going for almost an hour, so that's good to go. So yeah, no, that's it for this week's episode. Comes Naturally, we are
Joe.
I am Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.